everybody, it's Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. This video is about homeschooling. But first off, if you guys like the channel, enjoy the videos, please subscribe, please hit the like button, please comment. I love your comments, your input, your ideas. You guys give me a lot of good ideas, a lot of good inputs, things that I don't necessarily think of, or directions I can go with things. And video ideas, a lot of different stuff. Your input is invaluable. I love it. It's awesome. I'm so grateful for all you guys here. I thank you very much. A special shout out for my patrons. I love you guys. Patreon rocks. No censorship. Pennies a day. Worth it. Anyway, homeschooling. Oh, and if you can, if it's not too torturous on you, please watch the entire video. The view time is also really good for the algorithm. So, the video. Homeschooling. Oh man, I'll tell you what, it's a good option, especially right now. All these kids out of school for all these extended periods of time, missing all these educational opportunities. We homeschool, and so our kids don't miss anything. And it's not for everybody. I'll admit that it's definitely not for everybody. But think about it as an option. If you have children, do you have the ability to homeschool? Is there somebody, an adult, that stays home? A stay-at-home parent. I don't care if it's a man or the woman. It doesn't matter. Whoever it is can be the teacher. So yeah, I mean, do you have the ability? I highly recommend it. Like I said, it's not for everybody, but highly recommend it. I don't want my children in the public indoctrination system, first off. I don't want them learning all these liberal socialist ideas. And I don't want them being taught things that are found in textbooks like the Second Amendment and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and all this stuff like that are antiquated, useless documents. No. I don't want them being taught that. I also don't want them being taught that things are also found in textbooks like Islam is the only true faith, is the only true religion. That was found in textbooks in the United States of America. No. I don't want my children exposed to that. I get exposing my children to the world and to life, but there's no reason to expose them to the constant indoctrination. A lot of children nowadays are indoctrinated in school all day long, and then they come home and they're indoctrinated by the TV, or they're indoctrinated by the computer, the internet. Come on, be parents, raise your kids. Don't let some stranger in a indoctrination school system and the random strangers all over the internet and TV raise your children. Be there for them. This may upset some. I'm sorry, but be a parent. Step up. Be their positive influence in your children's lives. Do your job, your duty as parents. I'm not saying you have to homeschool to do your duty. I'm just saying be there also. Your kids can go to school. There's, hey, if that's your thing, I'm just highly recommending it because especially nowadays, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. Curriculum is just going downhill. The quality of education is going downhill. All this Common Core bull crap and their way of doing math where, my wife has a master's degree. I have a bachelor's degree. And when what was he then? He was a 10-year-old maybe. He's 12 now, but he was 10 years old in a math class. And it took both of us a while to interpret, to figure out what in the world are they talking about. We could not understand how to do 10-year-old math. And I get, my wife's not that great at math. I'm pretty good at math though. And I have a math-oriented mind, even though I'm not good at math per se. But seriously, two educated adults, it took us a long time to figure out what in the world they were getting at and how to do it. I'm like, just do math the way it's supposed to be done. I'm like, why do you have to screw with it? Why do you got to turn this into this whole new stupid thing of all these new ideas that don't work? I guess we did figure out that, yeah, okay, you could do it that way, but why? You're making it twice as hard when if you just teach them the right way to do math, or the way I was taught to do math, it's simple. It doesn't have to be that complicated. You know, overcomplicating things. Also, when they spend, I'm all for, you know, I'm very open minded about faith and religion. I hold and I know in my heart what is true, but I don't go out and judge others. That, you know, I try my best not to. So in talking about different faiths, I like learning about different faiths. It's interesting to me. I love it. When you're talking about religion, first of all, in school, it should be, I feel, from a historical aspect only, not from a religious aspect. Because those teachers, they have no knowledge of religions other than their own, even if they even have a religion. So, but I think, sure, talk about, you know, Islam and its roots and the historical roots of it, Christianity and its historical roots about Jesus, stuff like that. But what I've found to be true is they'll have pages and pages and pages, whole chapter on Muslims and Islam, and like one page on Christianity, maybe two. And that's just not okay. And if you're gonna cover faiths, you should cover a much broader range, like Hinduism, Buddhism, you know, Christianity, Islam. Just, there's a lot of different faiths. I'm not saying cover every single one and give them all equal time, but you should cover at least the major faiths of the world, the historical aspects of them, and give them equal time. I'm all for learning different ideas. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's just, the things I read blow my mind. And then they have, like, my kid has had to read specific books on people I despise that are far, far, far left, extremists, far left, progressive, liberal extremists. They have to read whole books on them, but there's no books on conservatives. There's no books on them. What's up with that? I do not agree with that. If you want them to read a book about an extreme left-wing extremist, okay. I mean, you know, it's okay to read about both sides, but have them read a book about an extreme right-wing extremist or a conservative. If you're going to teach liberalism, then teach conservatism. Teach them both. Let the child have free will. Let them experience and practice their own free will, make their own decisions. I teach my kids. My kids are, you know, I mean, they're younger, but they pretty much agree with me on my ideals. I mean, they're young children. They're going to. But I also don't teach them that's the only way. I teach them, try to do my best to teach them both sides of the story. Free will is big in my world. And I feel as a Christian, every Christian should be big on free will because God gave it to us. Nobody can take it away. Even though government does every single day. But think about homeschooling. To me, I mean, it's the only way. Plus, not to mention all the crap and all the disgusting filth that they would be exposed to at school amongst other children that don't have parents, that just have a mom and a dad, that, you know, a mother and a father that they never see or don't raise them, and the internet raises them and school raises them, like I was just talking about. Or, you know, talking about things that are completely inappropriate and out of line with your morals and your belief system. I don't want that for my children. I get it. And a lot of people that are against homeschooling say, oh, well, socialization, your kids won't get socialized. I'm like, really? Okay. So if they go to school and they sit in a classroom all day long, who do they get socialized with? They get socialized with kids their age. And that's it. Except for maybe at recess, lunch, stuff like that. They may have some minor exposure to children of other ages. Only their age group. Really? Or homeschooling, they get exposed to children of their age group via play groups, and then children of all ages at church, children of all different ages at community events, scouting, stuff like that, youth group activities. Also, going on field trips, learning field trips to firehouses, police stations, all these different things. They get exposed to people of all different ages, nursing homes, to, talk with somebody about historical events. Look it up. You can find things like that. Call up a nursing home and see if there's people that would like to have would like to share their story with a young child. They have history. Somebody 70, 80 years old, they lived through a lot, and it's of historical value. They may love telling their experience with World War II, the Korean War, whatever it may be. There's a lot of value there. There's so much more. And then also with homeschooling, you can turn a ruck in the woods into a classroom. You could teach them all kinds of stuff, all the plant life, all the wildlife, as they're doing exercise, which is their, their gym class. It's just, and they're outside in the fresh air and away from all these other, influences. It's just, and also, you don't have to stick to a specific curriculum. If your child is excelling in one area, you can expedite that. You can move forward with that. You can move forward at a faster pace in those topics that they're good at. And you can also take the personal time, one-on-one, or however many children you have, one on how many others, to sit there with them and help them through the tougher stuff, the stuff they're having a problem with, and slow down the pace. You can, pace yourself, figure out how it works best. And it's so much more intimate learning experience for the child, because they're not in a classroom with 30 or 40 other kids with one teacher and they're getting passed over. They're not getting that level of attention that you can give them while you're homeschooling. Homeschooling is just, if you don't agree with me, it's okay. This is all my personal opinion. But I just highly recommend it. And if you're doing that and you're homeschooling, SHTF happens, you just keep on going. You just keep on rolling with it. No big deal. Snowstorm, natural disaster, whatever. They don't have to miss out on school. They just keep on going. So it's just, there are good teachers out there. There are good schools. It's not all bad. Don't take it that I'm saying that it's all bad and that they're all horrible, evil people or anything like that. It's just, it is what it is. And the quality of the education is not that great, especially in most locations in most areas in the United States. Public school system is not that great of an education. It just isn't. If your situation makes it so you have to send your kids to school, I get it. I'm not knocking you. No problem. It all happens, all in good time. Maybe you'll have an opportunity in the future to do it. Just think about it. Something to be aware of. Also, as far as homeschooling, we talk about SHTF, WROL, all this stuff all the time. Long-term events. Okay, well, these long-term events, here, just a sec, I gotta get drink some water. Talking makes me thirsty. Water, good for you. Long-term event. Obviously, everybody be homeschooling. Schools would form, I'm sure, in larger groups and larger communities and stuff like that. But for a long time, it would just be homeschooling. So, what about the materials? Do you have materials set aside to homeschool your kids if you have them? And along with those materials, you may not have to keep, you don't have to keep ABC books and, basic sentence structure books and handwriting books and all that kind of stuff, and like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, stuff like that, because that's all basic knowledge that the average intelligent adult already knows and can just write it on a piece of paper. You can write it on a piece of wood, a piece of bark, whatever it is, whatever you have. you can write it down and show it to the children and have them practice writing it and practice doing it and stuff like that. I'm talking about like geometry, calculus, world history, economics, real economics, that obviously a lot of people in this country don't understand right now. But anyway, and whatever else you choose. If you're a person of faith, you'd obviously have your scriptures. And you can teach them from that also. That's very good textbook. To me, it's a textbook of life. But anyway, so think about having some of these materials, the higher stuff, or, any kind of textbook, encyclopedias, stuff like that, historical books. Have a wide variety of them. I understand there's a lot to prepping and there's a lot of other prepper books you need in your library. But hey, those encyclopedias and a lot of books like that can be valuable in a prepping sense also. And it'll also help with curing boredom, to give you guys something to sit around and read, talk about as a group, even the adults. The adults don't know everything, especially when it comes to history and all the different, topics. So, yeah, I recommend it. I know there's a lot of things on the priority list. I know food, stack it high, buy as much as you can, ammunition, get as much as you can, all those things, first aid stuff, hygiene stuff. Yeah, I get it. Seeds, gardening, all that stuff. Yes, do all those things. But try to fit this in also. If you don't have kids, maybe not worry about it. Although it still may be a good idea, because you may encounter children or people with children. It's all personal. I hope this helps you guys. I hope I didn't blab on too much and piss everybody off talking about the public school system or something like that. I'm pretty sure that most parents are aware that the public school system isn't that great. Like I said, if you can't do it now, just try to do it when you can, if you can. Keep it in mind. Or add schooling to your children. Even if they go to public school, they come home, make sure that you're reinforcing certain ideals. Make sure that you're reinforcing what you know to be the truth and what values and ideals and morals you hold true and of value to you in your lives. Make sure that you are there, giving them input, providing that influence that you deem important in your life. I hope this helps. Like I said, I love you guys. Prep a little every day and prep it a peace of mind out of fear. These are scary times, kind of, but keep a level head, stay positive. We will get through this. There's no reason not to increase your preparedness during this time. A lot more people are preppers nowadays, I think. It woke a lot of people up. Increase your preparations every chance you get. I love you guys, and blessings to you and yours.